loved one.
What's up? Fresh is our turn, baby. Gator boots with the boots out. Gucci suit, the Gucci suits. Ain't got no job, but I stay shy. I stay shy. Can't pay my rent. I can't pay my rent. All my money spent, but that's okay, 'cause I'm still fly. I'm so fly. Gotta wanna take the gas in my new E-Class, but that's alright.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday. You are locked in with Joel Munroe, your front row seat to the culture here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, Gator boots. This was my cat. And Andy, who's always on theme, did just test me and ask me out of the blue, because I didn't know he's going to play this, what year it came out. I'm a machine at this. Strategic. Surgical. Yeah, I was right, too. 2002. Shout out to the OGs.
Shout out to the class of 02.
Class of 02, be in the house.
I
Big
done
ups.
aged myself.
Pally Dolphins. Is that what your mascot is?
You already know.
All right. Shout out to that.
And we're redeeming ourselves. We're recuperating and everything from the fire. So shout out to Pally.
Shout out to Pally. Big ups to that. Listen, tonight we are getting into some things, as we always do here in your entertainment news update. We're talking about Birdman. He has some smoke for Master P, Russell Simmons, claiming that they blocked Cash Money back in the day. And he also had a little bit of conversation for artists who blame him for their lack of success, saying that nobody that's ever left him and not come back to the fold has ever had any success without him. So we're going to get into that. Mama Tina might have a new boo. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And you got Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's causing a little stir online with some comments he made regarding his recent haircut. We're going to get into that. But before we do that, of course, you know, we like to start the evening with a couple of conversation starters, things you should be aware of, and we'll get into the full details perhaps another time. First up, prayers out to Elijah Arenas, Gilbert Arenas, and Laura Gavon of Basketball Wives, etc.'s son. He was involved in a car accident early this morning in a Cybertruck. He was driving a Tesla Cybertruck that somehow caught on fire, and he had to be placed in a medically induced coma because of smoke inhalation. He has no physical damage, and he is expected, from what they say thus far, to make a full recovery. So we are thankful for that, sending shouts out to them and good vibes and love and light. I know that had to be a scary thing. It happened at 4:55 this morning. Some are questioning why he was out that early. He works out before school. He gets it in. He's very focused on his game. If you've watched anything from his mother or his father, they are a basketball family, and basketball is something serious. So, you know, nothing but good wishes and strong prayers out to him. And for you reality TV show fans, listen, we have a new reality show entering into the chat, right? And it is with at least one of my throwback faves. When Kimora Lee Simmons had Life in the Fab Lane on E, it was everything to me. I loved it. We saw a boss, we saw a mom, a wife with a little, you know, sprinkle of her St. Louis background in the mix. Well, Kimora's coming back to reality TV with her daughters and sons for a new show. No word yet on what network it is on, but I always like to see Kimora out in the mix. And plus, I'm sure people want to hear from her and her commentary on a lot of things that are in the news currently, things that detail some places she might have been in her former life. Obviously, the ex-wife of Russell Simmons, obviously the godmother to the Combs twins, Delilah and Jesse. So, you know, we might get some tidbits about things that are set to pop off soon enough, right? And great fashion, because I always love Kimora and how she busts out. And yesterday, I forgot to mention happy 20th birthday to YouTube. YouTube turned 20 years old yesterday. It was acquired by Google, I think, in 2010. I might be wrong on the date, for about $2 billion. It's now worth, I think they said, close to $400 billion. Can you believe that? Listen. And it all came about because he couldn't find, well, it was more than one developer, but they wanted to repeat that Janet Jackson moment. You know, that's what really took off YouTube, because people were trying to search and find the moment from Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl with Justin Timberlake. So that's what popped off YouTube, much like Google Images popped off because of J-Lo and the infamous Versace dress at the Grammys. So there you go. Andy?
I've been rocking with YouTube since day one, 2005.
Wow.
I remember I was in college at that time and came across the website, and I just remember what I loved about it so much was that it was a lot of videos that was up there that I used to record, you know what I mean, just for my own, my own memories and whatnot. So it was just dope to see that other people was on the same page, but at the same time, realizing that, their tagline at the time, I don't know if they still use it, but was broadcast yourself. I didn't know how revolutionary it was at the time, but I just remember just being a huge fan. I was like, yo, this YouTube thing is pretty dope. I wish I was on my business sense at that time.
I know, right? I think I opened my YouTube channel in 2009. Didn't really start actively getting into it probably till about maybe 10 years later. Like, I have videos from all that time period, but it was just kind of there.
I'm going to say this too. I don't know if you're going to bring it up later. I don't know if you're going to provide any updates with our brother. You are?
I am.
Okay. All I'm saying is, considering his decision, thank God for YouTube.
We're going to get more into that and more trending topics and headlines when we come forward. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You gotta live in the reality, because this is it. Every day, you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial, because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining, where you're praying for a miracle, and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community, and as a people, we've apologized for so much, but when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is, we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry. Get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now. No more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Boys. Yeah.
It's
Hold on. We them boys.
welcome in. Shout out to all the fans. It is NFL Draft Day. Andy had to check me to make sure I wasn't in a Cowboys jersey. I am not. It is just a jersey, not a Cowboys jersey. You know, shout out to, we all know, I am a Rams fan. All of my teams, LA based. Come on. We aren't even going to play those games. Listen, you know how this goes down. If at any time you want to get in on the conversation, 800-920-1580. Of course, hit us up on social media with your comments and commentary. KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill. The YouTube chat, get up in there. Same. You know, they like to get into all sorts of comments in there. So first up, since it is NFL Draft Thursday, right? Thought I'd throw a couple of football topics in the mix. So one, Travis Hunter has been drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's still with his fiance, Leanna Lee, and she dropped a Rolex on him last night in celebration and in anticipation of his being drafted today. He went 5. It was via, they traded up to get him, blah, 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 but they're there now. He's in the money. And we'll see what happens with that. But they did the smart thing. They got off social media, cocooned within themselves, and social media moved on to other things, right, Andy?
Best believe I was over here paying attention after they called his name just to see what the reaction was going to be.
And was she clapping? Was she suitable?
I mean, from what I remember, it was
Polite
her.
clap?
It was her. I think the Pops. It was like all of them together. They all kind of did a group hug.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a one-on-one type of thing. But shout out to Travis Hunter.
But she knows now, look, you guys aren't going to catch her slipping again. She's like, I'm done. All right. And next up, listen. We know who Patrick Mahomes is, right? He of the Kansas City Chiefs, quarterback extraordinaire, back-to-back. How many rings does Mahomes have now? 3, 4?
I think he's at 3.
3. It is 3. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Been to the Super Bowl, 4 or 5? Like, I don't know. The Chiefs are out there. Is it 4? Part of me feels like it's 4, but maybe I'm getting it confused because they thought they were going to take it just this last one. But anyway, so Patrick recently got I didn't see you. It is 3. Okay. It's 3. Patrick recently got a haircut, and social media, they got to have something to do. They have to have something to talk about. And they are concerned with the language, the description, the verbiage used by Patrick about his haircut and why the public let him walk around in this state and didn't say anything. Patrick Mahomes is biracial. His dad is a very black man, former MLB baseball player, at the tailgates, drinking his beers,
He's an RN. You already know.
Absolutely. Right. But still, some people feel like Patrick doesn't dip down into the culture. He doesn't really connect with his blackness. So they are taking issue with his description of his hair. So let's hear what he had to say, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted to do it for a while, but it was kind of one of those superstitions. I kept winning the Super Bowl, which is a good thing, but I didn't want to cut the hair while I was doing it. And so I told everybody during the season that win or lose, if we win 3 in a row or if we lose, I'm getting the haircut. Like that's enough. And I'm very excited. Like I've looked at some videos from last year, and I can't believe all you guys let me keep that nappy hair for so long. Like I look way better now with the short hair, so I'll be keeping this going forward.
So that's it. Not really a big deal, right? But is it? Do we think that, and I guess the question is, do you use that language and really embrace it? Like Patrick Mahomes' hair is not what we would consider 4C, right? I'm assuming that is what some of the pushback is. And, is he saying it because we are currently and always should have been in a moment where we are appreciating our naps more, right? And we love our naps. So is it, and again, this is the internet. I'm just letting y'all know what they talking about. It's not me. I'm just because I think, and this is aside, recognizing that I talk about trending topics and headlines, so I contribute to part of the problem. I recognize that. However, I am a reflection, but I think sometimes we take some of this stuff way too seriously. I do not understand some of the things that people get upset about on the internet. Is it a cover for something else? Are you projecting? I just do not get sometimes the uproar over seemingly. And once again, I am not saying this living in a blind era, not understanding how nappy has been used against us in certain situations. And I understand the Crown Act and why that was important, especially as a Black woman who at points in times in corporate America struggled with whether to wear braids in the workplace and have had conversations where have been talked to about whether or not braids were necessarily considered a professional look for something. You get your braids in, you find out you got an interview someplace, the dilemma, do you take your braids out? So again, I am not removed from all of that. I'm right there with you in that. However, I do think at times we give attention to, or we make a mountain out of a molehill when sometimes people are just they're just talking, they're just being funny. And I understand we have to take words mean things and we have to take them seriously. So I'm not doing that. But I think sometimes we need to exhale and take a step back and sometimes laugh at the silliness instead of being so frustrated by it. Andy?
About to say something very controversial, especially on a progressive station. This is where sometimes I feel wokeism backfires sometimes.
I can understand that.
That's just a little bit of an overreaction. And I get it. It is the internet. And I understand sometimes, at least for me, sometimes you just got to block these accounts and stuff like that. Like, I hate the fact that social media has you, like, looking at posts and stuff like that from things that you don't necessarily follow. Mm-hmm. But because it's trying to figure you out, you know what I'm saying? They'll have it posted.
They'll recommend stuff, yeah.
But it's just an overreaction. Like, come on, for real? Is it because he's light-skinned?
Yeah, it's because he's light-skinned, biracial. Like, there's the whole thing now where some people feel like biracial people aren't Black or should not call themselves Black, and they want to. So I think that we are in a very sensitive time when it comes to race, culture, and all of these things and how they're being examined. So I think sometimes people jump to an overcorrection because there have been so many egregious things that have happened in the past. And maybe they feel like they let things slide too much in the past, and that's why they have to address what they feel is transgression. I'm unsure, but
I bet you those same individuals that had an issue with him using that term are the same individuals that probably will not call Patrick Mahomes a Black man.
I mean, yeah, and that's why they have an issue with him using that term. So we have a caller on the line. Let's get Eric in here from Carson. Eric, how are you this evening? What's going on? What's on your mind?
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
I'm amazing, and you?
I'm good. I wanted to change gears real quick if I could.
Absolutely, go ahead.
I had the benefit of seeing the movie Sinners on last Thursday.
No spoilers.
And the first hour, Oh, no spoilers? Okay,
No, don't give any spoilers because we don't know who in the audience. Andy hasn't seen it, so right there, you can't mess it up for Andy. All right, so go.
I'll keep it clean.
Okay.
Okay. So I fell asleep. The first hour I thought was awesome, and then I fell asleep. The second hour lost me. So I will tell you this. I was 5 minutes late, and that 5 minutes, I missed the setup for the movie. And so I went back to see it a second time, and so that 5 minutes made all the difference in the world. And when the movie was over, Miles Catton, who truly is the star of the movie, but Michael B. Jordan, gets the credit. So I wanted to see who he was, and a second part of the movie came on after the credits. So you need to stay. It wasn't nobody but me and one other lady in there.
Yeah.
So that helped. And so I'm just going to say this. I just want to give a shout out to Miles Catton, who played a pivotal role in the movie. But Michael B. Jordan, that boy's bad. I mean, them twins. He's a bad brother. I gotta say that. So I wish I could say more, but I don't want to spoil it for Andy and the rest of the group.
No spoilers. Shout out to Center. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan, Miles Canton. He does do his thing. Check out my interview. We played the interview right here on KBLA a couple weeks ago. But if you not, check it out on the podcast. You guys can go back and
I'm going back to
listen
check that
to
out.
it, and it's also on YouTube. So check it out there. Some multiple ways you can check out my interview with Miles Canton, Delroy Lindo, Lily, Jamie, who played Perline, Jack, who played Reddick, and, the cast, and Woomy. I talked to them. So check that out. Appreciate you for clocking in with us. And, feel free, if one of the other topics moves you, to give us a call back. We appreciate you. All right. So, listen, we're going to move on from Patrick Mahomes since we already did. And we are going to get into Birdman. Now, we know that Cash Money is an army, not a navy. No Limit Records, right? And what was the other independent from the South that was bubbling up at that time? Rap-A-Lot was before, so I guess you can't really include that. It was really, for me, when I think about that late 90s, early 2000s, from that particular area of the South, I think about Master P and No Limit Records, right? I mean, Cash Money and No Limit. Well, Birdman says that not only wasn't he aware of Master P as far as hip hop goes, he said he knew he was a ball player and he was nice, but he was talking AAU. He's not even talking high school stuff. He also mentioned that really, which we all knew, because I think I've mentioned this before, when Master P and No Limit, they all dropped, maybe I wasn't paying attention close enough to the lyrics, but I did not know they weren't from the Bay Area. I thought they were a Bay Area sound thing. And I believe Pen and Pixel started up there as well. I feel like there were other album covers like Richie Rich and even E40 and those gangs. I don't know if they followed Master P with those type of styles of album covers or if it was vice versa, but I thought Master P was from the Bay, and that's because he had, we all know the backstory. He had doop out of New Orleans, came to the Bay to doop handle his business, and the rest is history. But let's check out what Birdman had to say about how Master P and Russell Simmons attempted to block out Cash Money back in the day.
What was Cash Money doing when P and No Limit was popping off?
Honestly, I never heard of that dude.
Really?
Never. I know him. I kind of knew him because he played basketball.
Right.
And that's AAU because sometimes our project was Shakespeare. There was Rosenwald, so sometimes they play together.
Right.
And really could ball.
Yeah.
Play.
Yeah.
I never knew him of no streets.
Not in the streets.
Nah, so, we heard of it, but we was all young. But then they left and came back. I ain't understand it. Like, cause I've been out here all this time doing this. I ain't never heard of it. But his wave came from the West Coast.
Yeah, because, I mean, they was getting it popping like in Richmond and all, you know.
It came from that way.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, that was smart just based off of he had the South feel, he had the West Coast, and it was something new and something different. And at the time, what was unique about him, or to us, is he was independent on his own, getting money, and he had like a unprecedented record-breaking deal. I forgot who gave him his deal. Priority.
A lot of Texas music was coming our way.
Right, like Rap Alive.
Yeah. Right.
So we're going to pause it right there, and when we come forward, we'll get into the rest of it. But what kind of shade? Birdman, you didn't hear anything? I mean, come on. You had your ear to the streets and you didn't hear anything? Does it mean, and this is a legitimate question, is someone not gangster if another gangster has never heard of him? We'll talk about that when we come forward. You're locked in with Joe Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Finger on the trigger, that's that uptown living. High to the sky, nose diving for fishes. Hustling, doing donuts in the lamb. Candy on the slab, 50 on the ab, 100 at the crib. Get it how you live. Stunting on these red diamonds.
You're in the know with Joe Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. President Trump has signed 2 executive orders targeting DEI in education, saying schools are moving away from diversity initiatives. One order focuses on college accreditors, the other on K-12 discipline policies. Georgia pastor Reverend Jamal Bryan is calling for a full boycott of Target after the chain announced plans to dismantle its DEI efforts. He's demanding the retailer recommit to DEI and invest in Black-owned businesses and banks. Black New York Attorney General Letitia James has hired top defense lawyer Abby Lowell to fight mortgage fraud claims from the Trump administration. She's accused of falsifying records for a Virginia home and not disclosing details about her Brooklyn property. And Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is launching the next phase of Los Angeles airport renovations with $5 billion in new contracts focused on hiring small and minority-owned local businesses. It's part of a $30 billion upgrade ahead of the 2028 Olympics. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Calabasas on that 101 southbound. It's slowing down away from Lost Hills as you continue in stretches all the way into downtown Los Angeles. Also a tough drive in Mid-City with a wreck on the 10. This is eastbound at past Vermont. These guys are blocking the right lane. Motorcycle involved. Delays out of Santa Monica, leaving Centinela. Pothole in Elysian Park, 5 northbound at Stadium Way. Left lane affected. Delays away from the 10, heads up there. And in Cerritos, a crash on the 91 westbound at Bloomfield. A crash is out of lanes. Delays from Carmenita.
You ready? An all-new Dave & Buster's is here with all-new games just in time for spring break. Fly high in Top Gun Maverick, or step into the UFC Challenge and battle Godzilla in VR, or put yourself inside the new human crane and become the Claw to grab epic prizes. Only at Dave & Buster's.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Everybody is healthy on the Clippers roster for Game 3 tonight against Denver at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers have no players on their injury list. NBA teams are required to submit an injury list to the league office in New York before every game. It's a beautiful thing to not see Kawhi Leonard's name on that list. Knock on wood, Kawhi's right knee is holding up very well. In the first 2 games against Denver, Kawhi is averaging 40 minutes and 30 points. Alabama A&M offensive tackle Carson Vincent is expected to be a first or second round pick in tonight's NFL draft. He would be the first HBCU player selected in the NFL draft in 2 years. No HBCU players were chosen in the 2024 draft. The NFL draft is 7 rounds. Isaiah Bolden, a cornerback from Jackson State, was the last HBCU player drafted. Bolden was a 7th round pick of New England in 2023. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
This so good should be illegal. Need round two, I need the sequel. Hit the backwood like a freak though. You next level, you a chico. In so deep, you hit my seat plug. Got me singing like Alicia. Got me using all your lingo. Tell your girlfriend that you single. Call me over cause
welcome back in. We're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. First of all, shout out to a Taurus queen, Kehlani. Happy birthday. You know, it's another Taurus queen's birthday coming up quite soon. Y'all remember. You guys better send me some shout outs.
What's the date?
May 1st.
Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah, next Thursday. A week from today.
You pulling up or you know what I'm saying?
pulling up. Okay. I am going to ask Boss Man for Friday off. I haven't sent that email yet, but you know. We'll see.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
We'll see. But yeah, I'll be here on my birthday next Thursday, the 1st. So, you know, y'all make sure you tap in and send me birthday greetings.
I was about to say, hey, y'all better save up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got a Cash App.
That's what I'm saying.
I got a Cash App, y'all. All right.
Show some support. Show some love.
Listen, so back on our topic. So we're going to get back into Birdman and what he had to say in just a second. But real quick, I want to slide this in there. We've been talking about Shannon Sharpe a lot for the past couple of days because it's a lot happening. The story is evolving quickly. And earlier this morning, he put out on X that he has decided to step away from ESPN for the time being. He said he'll be back when the NFL season starts, preseason actually, and he's going to devote more time to his family. Why do we always want to devote time to our family in times of this? We weren't devoting time to our family before? But, hey, man. That was very nice of ESPN to let him say that. You know, that was very nice of them to let him hold up some dignity in a very undignified scenario and situation. There's also, I mentioned on Monday, I mentioned all week actually, about the 2010 lawsuit that happened while he was at CBS, that alleged, former relationship. There was accusations of stalking, blah, 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 blah. That was the 2010 deal, right? So now comes word that also, while he was at FS1 on Undisputed, there was a situation that did not make it to the legal status, but there was a payoff, a monetary amount that was settled on allegedly in the not even allegedly, because TMZ said that they contacted Shannon's people as well, but we're going to say allegedly, that there was a hundreds of thousands of dollars payoff that could be as small as 100,000 or more. Small. You like how I said small? I mean, well, when you're looking at $50 million, 25,000 a cheek, isn't that what he said, she said? Well, listen, Shannon's got a lot going on. And I mean, we've talked about the fact that Unc seemed to start feeling himself a little bit. I think he got a little too, again, as I said, this is a professional NFL player that has been out there for a long time. But I think he didn't understand fat meat was greasy. And these new young ladies are different. And you at 50 plus years old, you may not have wanted an older woman. And certainly we understand that you may not necessarily have wanted a melanin woman. But maybe you should have done something different. I don't know, Shannon. I'm rooting for you, Shay Shay. And I say that not in discrediting the young lady. I mean, because there's a lot of things that can be true, although it does feel like a shakedown. And I don't know if going to get Tony Busby as your lawyer, coming off of his Jay-Z loss, shall we call it, and this follow-up suit was the best idea. But here we are. We know that Shannon has handled a couple of things, not just a couple, but some things wrong, in my opinion, with how he has responded to this. To me, yeah, you may make one statement, but you let your lawyer do all of the talking. You don't. I don't know. We'll have to see. I know you might be fighting for your life, and he maintains that this relationship was 100% consensual. And here's the thing, because to me, as I've mentioned, it sounds like it might have been a little sub-dom relationship. TMZ has said that there was 100 instances of BDSM type situations in their relationship. Again, they must got some text messages from somewhere. Somebody's letting it all roll out, but the point is, maybe if it was someone a little more older, I don't know if in those situations, I know you're supposed to have a safe word. We all heard Kevin Hart yell pineapples in the comedy special. Maybe they lost track of that because there seems to be a yes to some things, and maybe it went a little further than she was comfortable with. And the thing with that is, even in the midst of, if she wanted to say, hey, I want you to do terrible dog dirty things to me, the minute she said, I don't like this anymore, you got to stop. That's just what it is. But, a lot of things seem tricky. That recorded conversation seemed a little planned, but we'll never know. And again, hopefully, for everybody's sake, right? Because I would imagine the young lady is probably a little embarrassed. This case was originally filed as a Jane Doe. Andy doesn't think she's embarrassed. No.
She put that upon herself.
Yeah.
Once she filed a lawsuit. You know what type of man you were dealing with. Just like Shannon knows what type of chick he was dealing with.
Facts.
Y'all both embarrassed.
Yeah. And I mean, listen. People are freaks, and what you do in your bedroom is your business. But when it crosses that public threshold, certain impressions cannot be erased from the brain. That was just October when we heard about what was happening with Michelle. And really, if you think about the Michelle video, it makes so much more sense now when you think about these text messages. At any rate,
I think Shannon's going to redeem himself, though.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he has a lot of support. I think a lot of people already can understand, the whole contract situation.
Yeah.
They feel that it's a money grab. I think, and I disagree with the whole thing about, let your lawyer speak. I've always felt that if you were accused of something, in my opinion, if you truly felt like you didn't do the crime, you should be screaming at the top of your lungs. That's just my opinion.
No, I mean,
I appreciate
I'm not
Shannon
saying
Sharp for
one.
stepping up.
I think once, but then I think the repeated. I don't know. It looks kind of bad. Again, it all looks crazy. But 52 at the time, 19. You might have thought about that. I don't know. Again, people are like, what do they have to talk about? They met in the gym. She obviously is fit, I guess, and likes to work out. They could be talking about working out.
Absolutely.
You can have a conversation with anybody at any age range. But the point is, when you take it further, you still got to deal with some of those repercussions.
She probably pulled up and was like, I'm trying to get muscles like you. And then, boom, it was a wrap after that. You want to know the meal plan and everything?
Right. Oh, you meal prep? Look. Fahima in the chat says, greetings. Sometime with family, Shannon Sharp's 3 children are all grown, even older than his 19-year-old girlfriend suing him. That is true.
Unfortunately, it's patriarchy, and men have that privilege.
But he is currently on a live stream right now with Chad Ochocinco for Nightcap for their NFL draft show. And listen, though he is off ESPN, he has still got Club Shay Shay and Nightcap. And we know he had some interesting sponsors there. So that type of stuff will probably keep going. They probably can sit comfortably in still being sponsors of his show. I am curious to see if the caliber of guests change on Club Shay Shay or if there's a different approach while this is happening. So that is something I'm curious about. When we come forward, we'll get back into Birdman and the details from that. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Is Birdman cap in saying he really didn't hear about Master P and all of the other things that he's going to reveal? I mean, is it really a shocker at this point that foes are trying to block each other out in business? Everybody says we should all root for each other and bring each other up, but is that a reality? We're good into that on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice.
justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So let's hear what Birdman had to say about Russell Simmons and Master P blocking him out.
I forgot who gave him his deal. Priority.
A lot of Texas music was coming our way.
Right, like Rap-A-Lot.
Yeah, Rap-A-Lot was like the pioneer for us. That was somebody who I really looked at was Jay Prince in my time of coming up.
Yeah, absolutely, the OG.
So he did his
right.
And Texas music was coming down to us, but now our music going their way.
So y'all get into it, you get in there, Universal. Now, did you fly to New York? Or was it LA? Or like
New York.
So you went out there,
to New York,
met with Doug Morris and all that.
I met with other people. I met with, I think it was Warner Brothers, Sylvia Rome.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you was meeting with everybody?
Yeah, I was meeting with everybody.
Yeah, get the best
Sylvia
deal.
Rome, she said, and I got nothing but love for Sylvia. Over the years we didn't work together, but she said our music don't work for them. So we just left. I just walked out.
Right.
I went to Def Jam and met with Russell, Or and Kevin Lyles.
Right.
This Russell said he don't like our artwork. I said, I'm like, this.
I'm making $1 million a week. You don't like my artwork?
You know, Russell's a legend.
Nah, we love him. That's the OG.
I walk clean out.
Yeah.
You don't like my artwork. What about my music?
Right.
You don't care for the music?
Right.
So I left and I went to Priority.
Right.
Some weird shit here, right? Go to Priority. They fly us to California. Me and Slim, a couple of homies, we go out there. Come in there and said, man, I'm sorry we can't do the deal. He said, because Master P said if we sign y'all, he leaving.
Wow. He wasn't enough room for more than one New Orleans.
I just jumped on a jet and went back to New Orleans. It was like, we just gonna grind with it. And then Mel and Winton called. I said, this is my last trip. I ain't taking no more flights to New York or California.
Right.
We'll thug it out.
Yeah.
I'm still making millions. They gonna come down here. For me, I ain't going back.
Right.
And that was my last flight.
So my question is, one, is it realistic to expect that, we all say we're rooting for everybody black? Are we really? Can we really network across? Or does competition take too much in control? Because while it sounds haterish what Master P did, right? And we often push back against there can only be one because there's enough room for everybody. There is. But when it comes to a label, are there enough resources for everyone at that time? Would the spend that was going to Master P then be split? Were those are the type of things that he was, and again, yes, it's a little bit of hate, a little bit of salt in the mix. I'm not necessarily defending it, but I'm asking how, in those type of situations, do you make room but still protect what you were building? I think about the times back in the day when sometimes the labels would link up and do stuff like Murder Inc. I feel like did a lot of well, they were on Def Jam. I feel like there was some cross and collaboration because of those New York ties or whatever. But even now, we're finding out stories later from behind the scenes where they were still kind of hating on each other. The general public just wasn't aware of it. So I really, wonder how much of that do we really put into play as far as business goes, and how much of it is really realistic in certain scenarios where you're trying to protect market share. Like, we talk about Drake a lot, but one of the things that I liked about Drake, which now some people are looking at sideways, was that he would go to what was bubbling underground stuff that was getting heat, and he would help them by putting his sauce on it and raising their profile, and they would help him by giving him the streets, right? And so I'm a believer of fair exchange is no robbery, but how often do we see that play out? Andy?
It's funny you use Drake as an example because I feel like that's where Kendrick kind of criticized him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And basically saying, like, you are inauthentic, but Drake was over here being a hustler. Kind of like Jay-Z. Truthfully, I want to rhyme like common sense, but I did 5 mics. I ain't been rapping like common sense. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Listen, bars. The double entendres, like, I don't know. Well, we haven't really heard Jay rap in a while, but that was so much a part of his like 90s, early 2000s raps. I feel like he didn't hit those, at least not as puns in the same way in his later stuff. Like, there still was double entendres, but just not like, flipping them like that. I don't know. Music, hip hop, it's interesting. Like we've talked about, it's gone tech now. It's somewhere else. A lot of the properties are in different hands, which, again, it's that legacy versus the finances that come along with selling these things to consider or to continue an even bigger legacy or in a different format. Music is in change right now as a business. Our ears are obviously changing as far as what we listen to. And I'm just curious to see what's going to happen and play out. Andy?
I think at that time, too, you also got to consider, Master P came from the streets. Birdman is from the streets.
Bad Business could have been some other.
I mean, in a lot of ways, like when it comes to the streets, you're very territorial about your space. And I've always said this, man. Hip hop low key is the streets.
It is.
It's no different from it. You know what I mean? So I can understand the Master P. Like, who is this new kid on the block trying to take?
He trying to move weight on my corners?
Yeah,
what?
It's not going down. So I get it.
I get it too. Well, we will see what continues to evolve and what happens. We're not going to play the last clip, but just know that Birdman said that nobody that complained about him robbing them and not taking care of business as far as they are artists that left the label and didn't come back, he did stress, and didn't come back, has been successful without him. Now, I don't know if he includes Nicki, Lil Wayne, and Drake in that, but it was an interesting statement nonetheless. All right, last topic before we wrap up here. Miss Tina Knowles, the matriarch, her new memoir is out. She's doing some speaking tours. We talked about her conversation with Oprah, where she talked about her 2 marriages, and both of those men cheated on that queen, and she said she knew her worth and walked away. She had to recognize that. Well, she wants to let you know that at 70 years old, she is dating. 71, excuse me. She confirms she's spending time with a very nice gentleman. She's embracing joy, dressing sexy, and prioritizing self-love after her 2023 divorce from Richard Lawson. And she said, I haven't lost a night's sleep over it. It's fun looking sexy. It makes me feel sexy. So get into Miss Tina, showing you guys that, 70, don't stop nothing. And listen, there is always someone out there if you are out there putting yourself in position and upholding your values that will step up to the plate. So shout out to Miss Tina. All right, you guys, that is today's breakdown, where the headlines meet the hype. We got into a lot tonight. Of course, let me know your thoughts. I want to know how you feel about Birdman. I want to know how you feel about the state of hip hop and if togetherness and working together, especially in this tech culture, especially where we are stream heavy, not album heavy. There are no more crews anymore. Remember, we used to have hip hop crews that would bounce off each other. There's a couple of them, but a lot of them are in jail and fragmented and things of that nature. So I'm kind of curious as to where we will tap out with hip hop. Listen, coming up is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. Make sure that you are locked in to listen to what he's getting into, because you know it's always a key. Thank you for tapping in your front row to the culture with Jill Munroe, your daily dose of trending topics and headlines. I'll get at you tomorrow, 6 p.m.